to the Wing Wag. I'm your host, Jack O'Lind. I'm an instrument-rated pilot and the owner of an aviation company and flight school here in Central Florida.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. While we research each topic, we are humans and occasionally make mistakes. For the most up-to-date information on regulations, check out the official Federal Aviation Regulations, also known as the FARs, or consult an aviation attorney. Thus, the Wing Wag is not responsible for any direct. Lastly, the opinions expressed on this podcast are the guest's opinions and are not necessarily the opinions of the host or podcast. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm joined by a new guest, my beautiful wife, Kiara.
Hi.
And this week we're going to talk about some of the adventures that we've done in our airplanes. So one thing, we bought the airplanes, the Taylorcraft and the 170, for the purpose of making money, right? Running a flight school, renting them out, but then also for our own training, like for me to work on my commercial license, for my brother Hunter to work on his private pilot's license, and for us to stay current. These are all good reasons to own an airplane, but we have to remember why we're flying in the first place, and that's to have fun, to have adventures, and staying current and training is not like an end in itself. We're doing those things because we want to have fun in the airplanes.
Yes.
So we always try to keep in our minds that we should be doing things to make flying fun, not just a chore that we have to do to stay current. And so I decided having Kiara on would be a good idea because she's been a part of a lot of the adventures we've done in the airplanes, and she'll bring a new perspective because prior to flying in a Taylorcraft for the first time, she had never flown in a small airplane. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. It was my first time in a small airplane.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead? We'll start with that. How was your very first time in the Taylorcraft? Tell us about it.
I remember it was with Matthew, and it was, I think, 2023, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we had purchased the plane in August.
Yeah.
I didn't have my tailwheel endorsement yet, so that's why you had to fly with Matthew.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fly alone.
Yeah, I remember I have to fly with Matthew. I didn't speak English very well. I'm still learning, but it was kind of stressful because I didn't know how to talk with Matthew.
I remember you told me that while she was flying, Matthew was talking to the traffic at the airport.
Yes.
And she didn't know, like, if you've never flown a small airplane before, you've never seen the pilot, like, talking to air traffic control or talking to the local traffic. Yeah. So she thought that he was talking to her.
Yes, because I remember I told Jack, like, please tell Matthew that I'm not going to understand anything. And he was like, okay, I'm going to tell him. Then when we were flying, I was kind of nervous because I was listening to him talking. I was like, I don't know if he's talking to me or what. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to answer. But yeah, and then I was kind of nervous because when we were flying, I was listening the engines.
You listened to the engine?
Yes. And then suddenly I stopped listening then. And I was like, wait, what is happening here? Like, I don't know. I feel scared a little bit.
You're talking about, so when Matthew was flying the traffic pattern, when it was time to land, he pulled the power.
Yes.
To make the engine
slower, I think. Yeah, because I don't know anything about airplanes, so I don't know. I was kind of scared in that moment, but everything was fine. Like, Matthew is a good pilot. A lot of
the times when I'm flying with somebody for the first time, they comment about that. Like when you pull the power to go to land, like how scary it is. I personally like it because it's like peaceful. Like you hear the engine like all the time, and then finally you have some peace and quiet.
Yeah, but if you don't know what is happening in that moment, you are kind of scared because you listen to the engines and then suddenly you don't listen. So it's kind of like scary if you don't know what it is.
So what were your overall impressions during that first flight in the Taylorcraft? Did you like it? Were you more scared than excited?
I was excited, of course, because it was the first time with a smaller plane, like I told you. But, of course, it feels kind of weak because...
Like it feels small and fragile?
Yeah.
It does. And it has the fabric skin instead of metal, right?
Yes. Oh my God. But I didn't know that. I didn't
Oh, you didn't
realize
know that
in
at
that
the time?
moment. Yeah, because I was
Probably for the better.
nervous. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Maybe. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. It's been working for 80 years. It'll keep working.
But in that moment, you are scared because
Right.
you don't know.
Right. And you mentioned about the bumps. That's another thing that, like, in a small plane, you feel the turbulence way more than in an airliner. And even more so in the Taylorcraft because it's so small, so lightweight, that just like little winds really make it bounce around, right?
It's not just that. It's like when you are in a small plane, you are able to see everything in front of you. When you are in an airline, you are just enjoying the flight with everybody or just getting entertained. So it's like you are not paying attention of everything, like you are in a small
Or you're
airplane.
sleeping.
Or you are sleeping too. I
That's
sleep. That's me. So yeah, in this case, you need to be very concentrate.
Yeah, you need to concentrate,
so.
be very aware of your surroundings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, like even in the Tailorcraft, the two-seater, even when you're not the pilot, you're still working a little bit, right? Like you're helping me look for traffic, you're helping me look for weather, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that was your first flight, and it took me a while to get comfortable flying the Tailorcraft because it's so. In my opinion, landing the Tailorcraft is so different than landing like a Cessna 172. So I was nervous to like fly with you also at first. I was like, oh, if it's too bumpy, you're not going to like it. You know, if I do a bad landing, you're going to be upset. But so for a while, we didn't really do any big trips. We would just do little local flights around Titusville, like where I practice my landings, practice landing in the grass.
So I get used to it.
Yeah. So we did that for a long time. And then our first real like airplane trip, our first overnight trip was over Labor Day weekend in 2024. And we went to Cedar Key, which is in the like where the panhandle of Florida meets the bottom part, in the armpit of Florida, if you will. And I had been wanting to go here because it has the shortest paved runway, or the shortest paved public runway maybe, in the state of Florida. I think it's 2,000 feet, which at the time was going to be a big challenge for me because my landings were still a little shaky. I'm well under 2,000 feet now, but at the time. But you did great. I did do great. We'll get to that. But we had done a lot of research. We watched YouTube videos, and Cedar Key just looked like a really cool place to fly into.
And to stay. Yep.
So I was a little bit worried. So we had a 3-day weekend, and the Tailorcraft being so susceptible to weather, I was worried about getting stuck there. And so we planned on just being there for 2 days out of the 3-day weekend so that we had a full day buffer just in case. And we'll get to that being a good idea. But so we planned our route. We figured out with the weight and balance that we could each just have a small backpack worth of gear with us.
Oh, that was a challenge.
That wasn't a challenge for me.
That was for me.
So how was that flight over?
I like that flight. Of course, it was one of our first flight together. And it was almost 2 hours, I think.
I think it was 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. It was kind of long.
It was
but
long.
I was grateful that we were able to stop in the airport.
That's right. We stopped at Williston to get gas, which was like kind of near Cedar Key, so that if worse came to worse and I wasn't able to land at Cedar Key, we could have enough gas to get back. But Williston was cool in its own right. We got out, we stretched. It was a really nice airport, and it has a really interesting grass runway that's like set. If I remember correctly, it has 2 paved runways, and the grass runway is like set off to the side. So you have to like do a kind of long taxi through the forest to get to it. On the way there, we didn't mess around with the grass runway, but on the way home we did. So we'll talk about that a little later. So we got gas, We actually filmed a little bit because at the time we were thinking about starting a YouTube channel.
Maybe we are going to.
Maybe we still will. Yeah, maybe we'll
we're
put some
going
videos in here. Maybe if our editor will get on it.
Maybe.
So yeah, we took off from Williston, full tanks of gas, and headed to Cedar Key. We had a light crosswind, which, yeah, crosswinds still make me very nervous in a tail dragger.
I was so
But
nervous.
it was one of my better landings at the time.
That
we
is
landed well within the 2,000 feet, no issues, first try. And it's a very scenic approach.
Yep.
So the traffic pattern is basically completely over ocean. And so Cedar Key is actually made up of a couple of little islands that are all like connected together by, I guess, a land bridge or regular bridge. And the piece of land that has the runway is like the whole island, right?
Yes.
And so every part of the traffic pattern was over water except for landing. So like we're coming, like our approach to land on final approach was over like some shallows. It was very, very pretty. But we had heard some horror stories about airplanes like overshooting the runway and like going off into the water. But anyways, so we arrived there, let's see, that would have been Saturday morning. Yeah, because we left Titusville early Saturday morning, right at sunrise. And so we got there like mid-morning on Saturday. And a couple actually picked us up, remember? There was a couple that had been watching us come in. They watched us land, and they offered to give us a ride into town because the husband was saying that he had learned to fly in the same type of airplane when he was young.
That's so cool.
And so we were talking about airplanes, and they drove us into town to our Airbnb. And what did you think about Cedar Key?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we need to come back because we have fun. It was incredible, kind of historical. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was very historical. There were a lot of museums and old houses. Back in the day, it had been like a major port for the state of Florida. So there was a lot of like old railroad stuff. There was a famous railroad, it's not there anymore, but there was a famous railroad that would go all the way to Cedar Key and then across the state. And there's still remnants of it that you can go see. Like we hiked on a trail. That was the old railroad path.
A lot of mosquitoes though.
Very hot, very buggy. But yeah, it was very cool to see. It was a little bit like touristy. Like the main strip is kind of like on a dock. Like out on the water, and it has a lot of like tourist stores and cool restaurants. What else?
That first day, I think we had our dinner in the cool restaurant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we ate dinner at one of the restaurants on the main street. I don't remember what it was called.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was very good. It was
so
we ate
cool.
seafood, and we had like a beautiful view of the ocean. We saw dolphins, and we could see boats coming in. And then we rented a golf cart.
Oh yes.
Explored the island.
Yep.
And like really cool houses there. It reminded me kind of like a redneck Bahamas.
Yep, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I remember we found a party. It was a party in a restaurant. Do you remember?
In the bar?
Yes, in the bar.
Oh, yes. So we were about to go like back to bed.
Yes.
And we were driving the golf cart through like the main part of town one last time. And we saw this little tiny bar, not even on the ocean. It was just like very unassuming, to say the least. And we heard Dixieland Delight.
Yes,
remember?
I remember.
And we were like, what's going on in there?
And then we were like, okay, let's go dance. We need to go.
Yeah, we'll be in there for just one song.
Yep.
And so we went in, and we ended up staying a long time. It was so much fun. They had a bar, or they had a band in there. Do you remember the name of the band?
No, I don't remember. But I don't remember that we almost hired them for our wedding.
I remember the band.
Yes.
The band was called Faster Than Flash.
Oh.
Yeah. And they did like, I'm not even sure if this is how they would describe themselves, but to me it seemed like country versions.
Yeah.
It was like upbeat country versions of
was
all
so
kinds of songs, like rock songs, rap songs, literally anything.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. Yeah. Everybody was dancing, so much energy. And yeah, we tried to hire them for our wedding, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. But we think about that night all the time.
Yes, it was one of the best nights ever.
Yeah. And yeah, that was basically it. Then the next morning we got up early.
Yeah.
We wanted to get out early, like I said, because I was worried about being stuck there for weather. And here in Florida, the mornings are the times when with the least wind and the most likely to not have storms. So we wanted to get out early. So we took off. We flew back to Williston and got breakfast at the airport restaurant there. And then I had to explore the grass runway.
Yep.
So we did our long taxi to the forest to the grass runway, did a couple of laps, and we headed back to Titusville. And it was actually good that we left when we did, right? Do you remember?
No.
It started raining.
Oh yeah.
And we could see storms coming
in. Yeah. And you told me I needed to look for storm clouds, and I was like, okay, this is a storm cloud, and you're like, nope. Okay, this is a storm, because I don't like clouds. So for me, all the clouds are dangerous. So it's like, nope, I don't like this cloud. Come back. So yeah.
So, but we made it in, and then as soon as we landed on the ground, it just started coming down. Started raining hard.
Yes.
But overall, that was a very successful trip. We had such a great time. And then very soon after that, like a couple weeks later, a hurricane hit Cedar Key and destroyed most of it. I think it was Hurricane Milton, but I could be wrong about that.
Maybe.
And they were saying that this happens like every 20 years or so. It gets destroyed by a hurricane. It's sad.
I was so sad because it was so beautiful.
But I've heard they've rebuilt since then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or they've rebuilt a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to go back.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, that was Labor Day weekend of 2024. And that was our first and our last overnight airplane trip.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But we've done a couple of other cross countries along the way. For example, a couple weeks ago we went to Pearson Municipal Airport, which is just over 50 miles from Arthur Dunn. So it's a perfect practice cross country.
Yeah.
And it has a nice, wide, well-maintained grass runway. So I like to go there and just practice on it. It also has trees on both sides that kind of block the wind. So there's not a lot of crosswind.
Yeah, that was so fun.
So we went there just this weekend in the 170. Me, Kiara, my brother Matthew, and his wife Sasha, the four of us, we flew from Valkyrie to Arthur Dunn for the EAA pancake breakfast. And we're trying to do more of those. That's a lot of fun.
We need to go.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Being with a ton of pilots and seeing everybody come in. We are planning to go. We are planning to go to the other pancake breakfast. Yeah, so they have pancake breakfast all around the state. Yeah. We should go. We should start going to. Yeah, start traveling around. Yes. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. At least in our area, we have. Valkyria has one, Arthur Dunn has one, and DeLand has one. Yeah. And we also have some big plans for what we want to do in the future. Yeah. So, as I'm sure you know, we bought the 170 this summer, and in addition to being just a great trainer airplane for people who want to get their private pilot's license, it's also way more capable than the Taylorcraft for cross countries, overnight trips. I'm not as worried about weather in the 170 as I am in the Taylorcraft. I'm okay with letting it sit out overnight without being in a hangar. So we want to, like I said, go back to Cedar Key for sure.
You want to go to Puerto Rico?
Eventually we want to go to Puerto Rico.
Very soon.
Maybe very soon. First, we need to go to the Bahamas.
Oh, yes.
We want to learn the process of flying internationally by going to the Bahamas because it's a quick flight over from here. And I think that would be really cool to be able to island hop in the Bahamas without a boat, We also want to start whenever we travel in the Southeast, because we travel in the Southeast a decent amount. Yeah. We drove to Louisiana a couple months ago.
Atlanta.
We've driven to Atlanta. We've flown to Atlanta. Yeah. It would be really cool if we could just fly our own personal plane to all these places instead of driving or flying in an airliner. There's also an airport, I think it's called Arcadia, that has a campground on it that you can camp at. You fly in and go camping. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. And then we're also trying to plan a trip for the two of us, plus my brother Matthew and Sasha, to
that
go
would be
to do
fun.
something together. And maybe even like a group trip with both airplanes.
Oh,
Get all three boys and their
yes.
significant others flying.
That would be
That would
perfect.
that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, we have a lot of adventures planned. We've done a few, and yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fun in our future with the new airplanes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm excited too.
Yeah. Any special places you want to go?
Puerto Rico.
Okay. Whatever.
Bolivia.
Yeah, we'll see about that one day.
Why? One day.
It's a far
so fun.
flight. We'll
know.
see. Think that's good?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
What? A kiss. No, I'm kidding. Hello. Okay,
All right. I think we'll land the plane here. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Alrighty. Should we shake hands?
Thank you for listening to The Wing Wag. If you liked this episode, please consider subscribing. And if you're out flying today, make sure to give somebody a wing wag.